Chino is my mentor. He guided me through the streets. My street smarts comes from the
West Side. Moved up to Columbus, grew up with Frosty, with everybody pretty much. Got caught up in the whole.
I'm actually in the martial arts program with my son. And give us some discipline. That's the way we looked at it.
And it's such an honor to be here with all of our family.
Yeah, so I got it.
DeMarcus Scott and Henry and Andy.
Who are some of the people you looked up to as far as mentors and everything like that?
There was three people mainly. Of course my father was always the main people.
Exactly.
He always gave me good advice, but it was three people. It was, I could say Bambaataa, Africa Bambaataa,
Right.
Chino La Westside Familia, and Grandmaster Irving Soto. Those three people made a big impact in my life.
Okay.
I'm going to start off with Bambaataa. Well, back when I was first talking to Bam and stuff like that, when I first started the chapter and stuff like that, there was a lot of stuff that he told me that just instilled in me, and I put it back down on the chapter. And one of them is what we're doing now.
Right.
He says, don't ever lose your history.
Yeah.
He said, you got history. He says, from La Westside Familia to Rocksteady Park, because Upper West Side, Rocksteady Park was on 89th. We were all right there. Frosty Freeze is 93rd Street. That's the one who took me and Norman was like his proteges, his projects. He pulled us.
Frosty Freeze?
Frosty Freeze. He pulled us out, and then he started bringing us around Legs and everybody in Rocksteady Park. But we were already hanging out with Rocksteady. But Bam, that was one of the things that Bam told me. He says, never lose your history. And another thing he told me was, he says, the reason why I started this, he says, I grew up with the Spades. He says, and we were killing each other, our own people. He said, why should we kill our own people? He says, Savage Souls, Savage Nomads, all the brothers, the jungle, the ghetto brothers, all the outlaw gangs that were in New York during that time. Black Spades was one of the biggest during that time.
Yeah.
And he says, when I realized and I was looking back, he says, when we were Spades, we were fighting against our own people. He said, why should we kill our own people when, he says, why should we, he says, then I came up with the concept, why should we kill our own people when we can battle, DJ battle, MC battle, B-boy battles. So Bambaataa actually took all the elements of hip hop and put them together.
Right.
And a lot of the local gangs and stuff like that were fighting and get into stuff where he turned them into chapters. And that's how the chapters in Zulu Nation, at one time in the 80s, you can go no place in New York City without coming across a Zulu Nation member. Yeah. And we didn't start off like the Crips, the Bloods, we didn't start off as a gang. We started off through hip hop. Yeah. Hip hop was our freedom. It saved a lot of us. A lot of us were able to have careers and stuff like that. So a lot of people don't give certain people credit. Chino is my ground foundation.
Right.
Chino is the one that basically taught me unity, and Chino comes from the Young Lord family. His mother, the Young Lords. He's got articles. He's even got a documentary on his history.
Really?
Wow. And he really meant that, La Familia. He brought a group of young kids together, and he brought us together to keep each other safe. We did everything together. All the Puerto Rican Day festivals, we all went to the beaches together, but we stood all together as a community and a neighborhood. It wasn't just like, if you see one of us, you see the rest of us. Especially the Puerto Rican Day Parade from 81st Street, or from 81st Street all the way to like 86th Street. You can walk back and forth and it's all of us there. Like a safe zone right there. And then you had, then my Grandmaster Soto. He taught me the strength, honor, and loyalty, because the loyalty and honor and the strength that I have, really, the mental came from him, and the body coordination and we have something that we call Harike. Harike is a form of we call it's Japanese psychology. Right. They say it's the art of fighting without fighting and stuff like that. How to channel energy and stuff like that. And then it's physical, mental, and spiritual strength. And spiritual strength, he says, is connecting souls too. He says when you have energy and strength, He says, it's spiritual that you bring people together. He says, Scott, you have that power just like I do. And then you know, my younger brothers, who I grew up with, you know, also too I consider them founders too. Pop Master Fable and Sen One. That's my local graffiti artist. Sen One designed our logo.
With you and Scott, like, what age did y'all meet?
We met.
Y'all hooked up. He was saying, like, I don't know, junior high school? Was it? 13?
It was the PS school, PS 84, right behind his mother's building.
Yeah, exactly.
It was right there that me and Scotty met and everything, and we started hanging out because at that time, before I moved to 733, I used to live on 92nd Street in Central Park, between Central Park and Columbus, right across the street from PS 84. So that's where I met Scott, at PS 84, Garden Riverside, where we used to play softball, you know, hang out at Garden Riverside when we were young, you know, and you know, that's where we met. We ran there. I mean, we went rapid, we went wild.
From what, 92nd Street all the way up to
108, from 92nd to 108, from 108 back to 92nd.
Right,
Amsterdam and Columbus, we ruled. You know, when we walked down the block, they said, oh, there go the young city boys. Or when we came over, that we met, like I said, we met our Crazy Legs. And that's when he came, you know, to start a breakdancing crew with us. Because we break dance, and we were also little gangsters, but our thing was more, we'll battle you, if we beat you, you don't come back.
Right.
You know, and we used to do that. So one time, Crazy Legs that came down and said, well, let's combine, let's put Young City Boys and Rocksteady Crew together and make it one. And that's what we did. And
so
that's when we started breakdancing. Yeah, we started
breakdancing
with Rocksteady and everything. My sister was the first B-girl, Baby Love, Daisy Castro. And she was the first B-girl. I taught her how to break dance and everything. And after that, me and Scotty started Native.
Okay.
And
Natives, what was it like? How many members was it when it first started?
When it first started, it was me, Scott, you, DeMarca, and Henry Fair.
Scott was saying Fable, right?
Fable was there. Fable, he helped us out, open up our chapter. I give the credit to him because he helped us out. He showed us how to do it and everything. And at first, you know, we started off rough, you know, because we started off as
it was just
negative.
It was like
just,
a
we were gangsters. We real gangsters. But then we started realizing, you know, we could help this. You know, we could help people out. You know, we could start something different because, you know, Fable used to always tell us, do something different, do something that nobody else does. And that's exactly what we did. You know, me and Scott looked at each other and said, yo, we've been in our negative life all our lives. You know, let's try something different. Let's bring something back to the neighborhood that we didn't have. And that's when, you know, I got introduced to the martial art by Charlie Torres. And at that time, Native wasn't, we didn't think about opening up the martial arts. We thought about the martial arts after, when I got in it, and then I showed Scott. And then Scott fell in love with it, and we went gun-ho, you know.
So tell me about the program. Like, when did you start the program? Well, when did you take over?
I took over the program. It started with Andy and Scott in 1995. Then they were doing it for a little while. They stopped. Then Mr. Soda came back into town. He was living in California. So he took over the program, teaching the classes on Saturdays again for a little while. He stopped because he had to move back to California because, you know, he worked for the government, police.
He does a lot
He gave it to Master Steve. Master Steve had it for like another 10 years. But, you know, he got busy with work, and one day, I think I was just a second grade black belt. I called the Grandmaster, asking for the permission. I said, you know, I learned the martial arts in this neighborhood, in the community, and I wanted to bring it back. All I did, I want to have the opportunity and that chance, that privilege to teach the community. And he gave me the opportunity, and that was like 3 years ago.
So you've been running the program 3 years now?
3 years now, with his blessing, with Scott blessing, Andy blessing, and Steve blessing, and I took over, and I've been doing good. You know, I learned a lot. You know, I took it, and I learned. I took it and started training self-defense for the security team, Carter Safety Security.
Exactly. Big up to Henry.
You know, big up to Henry. I've been doing that. You know, I took what I learned teach the kids, of course, then transfer over to self-defense
Right.
and the security aspect. So I've been doing that for the natives, and so until now, until this day, I'm still doing it. You know, that was 3 years ago, and throughout the year, I became.
Right. That's a lot of time out of the day.
Yeah.
And how many students, like when you started out? I mean, it was students before, but when you started.
When I
how
started,
many-
when I started 3 years ago, I only had like maybe 10,
10.
give and take. Now I have close to 20.
20. That's
You know, they
good.
come and go. You know, they're kids,
Right,
so
right,
they
right.
want to learn basketball, and you can't blame them.
Right.
You know, some people don't go with it all the way. Some people will go with it all the way.
Yeah. That's true.
So, other than that, you know, I'm there in the community for the community. And God Riverside, I appreciate it a lot. I don't even charge God Riverside nothing. I do it because I want to do it.
Yeah.
And they love me for that.
Natives, I mean, it was through King's End. When I met King's End, and then I became part of the Staten Island chapter, I came over to, it was really weird because I came from Lincoln Projects. You know, when my parents broke up, I moved over to Convent Avenue, 106 in Convent, and then I moved my father. And then my mother moved down on 103rd in Broadway. So it was like, the natives was from like 92nd all the way up to like 108th.
Yeah.
And that whole area from like Broadway all the way across to like Fifth Avenue, something like that, you know what I'm saying? So they ran that whole area. And so happened, King's End knew Scott, Andy, you know, these brothers, Fable, you know, we all kind of met at the same time in that area, you know, so, you know, I resonated with Scott because he was more family oriented. He looked out for everybody, and in that area, everybody was so unified as a family, like Chino and La Familia, you know, Andy, Scott. I mean, they had that whole area locked down. You know, George Sim one, you know, those brothers over there, they had it locked down. So it was logic for me to run with these brothers because Scott was all about family and loyalty. And that's the same thing I was about. We ain't cross each other.
I know he about that family.
Right, in the
and loyalty.
natives, you cross each other, then you gonna have problems, you know? And
Yeah.
that's what I liked about it, you know, it was about loyalty.
I mean, I guess, you know, you picked a real nice, you know, spot to fit in that because, you know, I've had conversations with Scott also.
Exactly.
And Scott always say to me, trust,
And
loyalty,
loyalty.
and family.
And that's what natives was about.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of people flocked to our chapter. You know, it was because of that reason. They seen it and they felt it. You know, a lot of people try to get in between us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But, you know, our love is too deep for that. You know, we have our problems, but we always stay together because, you know, I follow Scott, I follow Henry, I follow Andy because I've seen them personally put their lives on the line for me. You
That's
know what I'm
what's up.
saying?
That's what's
And
up.
I'm a man. You know, who follows another man?
Exactly.
You know, I follow them because I seen them, you know, willing to put their lives on the line for me and my family. So I would do the same. That's how natives became so popular, you know, at one time. You know?
So I guess it's safe to say, as far as family doesn't stop at a bloodline.
Nah, we're really family like that. We're really family like that. And, you know, and with the natives, we always showed that people always seen that. So.
That's what I was gonna say. You know, natives. You know, this documentary it really couldn't be like it couldn't have a better title because we're really like the true living example of like what it is to come from the negative to the positive. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, when I said, you know, in the beginning, I said I'm lucky, you know, because I joined the right family. Because like, look, I'm from the Bronx. You know, like we've been in the dark times, you know what I'm saying? We're like 100%, you know, and we made it good, you know, 100%. Like, I come to the natives, and I remember that even in the meetings, like the Zulu meetings, in my mind, I'm coming to a gang meeting, you know. Henry was over there in the kitchen. I didn't really see his face for like 2 months. I'm not lying. This is 100%. This is Henry. Anybody that knows him knows how Henry is, you know. But Will read the Bible in the meeting, and I'm sitting there like, fuck is going on here? Like, isn't this like a gang meeting? You understand? So like, I definitely joined the right crew. I see that now, cause like Henry, all he ever told me was like, don't do the fucked up shit. But you know, like I was young, you know, like nothing that we did was really productive or good, you know? Like what we did in the neighborhoods, you know? But now we've grown, you know, and like the natives really like shaped me, and the Zulu Nation saved my life. 100%, the Zulu Nation saved my life. I came into the Zulu Nation with my own gang, you know, and the purpose of the Zulu Nation, like I used to see Bam preaching, you know what I'm saying? Like, really, I was like, what the fuck is this guy just preaching? Like, seriously, like that's the thing, like a lot of people don't understand with the gang mentality, like, brothers are gonna do what brothers are gonna do, and the sisters too, you know what I'm saying? Like, listen, you put a man in the wild, like in the Bronx and Harlem, you know, struggling, you know, like I didn't have a father, you know, growing up. My mom and my dad separated when I was 2, you know what I'm saying? So this is our story, you know, and I'm talking about the people that saved us, you know what I'm saying? The Zulu Nation, the natives, you know what I'm saying? 100%, because I could have joined any other crew and be doing all kinds of fucked up shit, you know what I'm saying? Like in reality, you know what I'm saying? But we didn't, you know, we could have, but we didn't. And all the shit that we did, we grow to like make it better. Like this is what the natives is about, you know, we teach martial arts. I don't personally, you know, like I said, you know, like I chose a different path, you know, even though Henry always told me like, don't do this, don't do that, don't do that. But I paid the price too, you know, like I was recently incarcerated. Ain't nothing worse than taking a man's freedom, you know. Africa Bambaataa always said like, you know, leave the gang activity alone, you know, do good, but you young. I'm like, fuck this old head. Like, I'm gonna go over there, I'm gonna bust this guy in his ass if you fuck with the crew. Natives, you have Festa saying, peace, almighty natives, and you grow with a certain mentality, you know? But then again, you have brothers like Scott, Henry, who always said, don't do the wrong thing. And like, we grew up like, Bam always said, peace to Bam, man. Like, Bam always said, you know? They try to always shut up shut down the crazy guy. Because he's in the street just saying the same thing over and over every day. But that's why freedom of expression in hip-hop is very important, you know what I'm saying? Because, like, there's places in the world where there is no freedom of speech.
That's how poetry.
Yeah, and you know how they rebel? Through hip-hop, you know what I'm saying? So, like, Bam used to always say, you know, freedom of speech, if they don't shut him up, one day after hearing it so much, it's gonna click in your head. And you're gonna understand that he's not crazy at all, it's just that the system is designed a certain way. 100%. Yeah, 100%. A lot of things happening right now, and people need to become informed. But like, you know, like Bam told me when I was younger, you know, that hip hop was gonna be the wave of the future. Like every country was gonna bang hip hop like as the main style of music, and it's happening now. And that English was gonna be the language of the world. Bam always said that. Bam also always said that one day TV is gonna watch you instead of you watching TV. Today, I don't watch TV. I thought he was crazy. But as you grow older and you see like chemtrails, you know, and all kind of things that people talk about, you know, like you don't really know what's going on. You don't really know what's going on, but the bottom line is like, you know, I watched a documentary, you know, on like drugs in the neighborhood, you know, and who's involved and whatnot, like from the top of the chain.
Was responsible for murders and shootings that made
said,
everyday life a nightmare.
They put the drugs in the neighborhood. Believe it. In prison, I met this old drug dealer who said that when the drugs are coming in from Mexico,
the Boys and Money Avenue gang, and were able to apprehend the majority of the 103 wanted.
So I don't know what's going on. The thing is that we're taught to protect ourselves in our community, you know, like 100%. Peace to the motherfucking Zulu Nation, and peace to the natives. This is my family. You heard?
You know, we're trying to come out to Long Island and try to make some progress because all the shootings was MS-13. And yo, Rich! Especially all just the youth themselves, they just need some positive. And if we can bring it, we'll definitely help them in many ways. If we're counseling, we'll have all the gang members that used to be, you know, had bad backgrounds, like I said, positive to the negative. They became positive, they were negative. They can come and talk to them and preach to them and tell them what's positive. And hopefully it'll change their minds of going the wrong route and make the right thing and make the right decisions and get them working and going to college and try to get them on the right track. We're just trying to open up a community center because there's too much stuff going on in the streets and everything's so expensive for these parents. And if we could get something like a roller skating ring and make it build, and have everything just come into one circle. And if $5 to get in, $2 for the skate, and the whole center is just for the kids to just have a good time. And if we can get like a daycare center for the parents, whatever, you know, all they got to do is come in with an ID. We're just trying to get some funds ready and try to get this started, and hopefully it'll progress. So with everybody's help and support, let's get this movement started for these children.
We are here celebrating the Puerto Rican festival before the parade, and it's such an honor to be here with all our family, everybody together and in peace and harmony, and this is the way we should do it. But one thing I got to say, Oscar Lopez, we love you. You are free, and you're going to be here with us. Amen. Now I'm giving it over to Scotty, the guy that I grew up with, my honor president, vice president, the godfather of my family.
Chino is my mentor. He guided me through the streets. My street smarts comes from this man. The first like real familia meetings, I remember being in Rosa's house on the 60th floor, 16E. I live 18E. So that's why he's the co-founder of the Natives. Chino kept us in the loop with all the political shit. Giuliani made all the cutbacks. Chino outshot. Chino's was in the front with all the rallies, everything, Chino. And it comes from a history of original Young Lords. Chino has a documentary that people don't know about that they had on PBS on some of his history. We need to do some of this, but Chino towards family, we know what family is. That's why we stood together. We all fucking love each other. These people are not new in my life. I grew up with these people. And Chino always protected the neighborhood, always had a respect for the neighborhood. This generation is a different type of generation. They don't have that respect. But even Chino was hardcore. He still wouldn't fuck with any of the elders or anybody. And with us, he'll protect us to the fucking end.